Hi everyone, and welcome back to the program. My name's Suzanne Moore and you're listening to the PM Clinic. Today I just want to go through really simple my 3 rules of project management, which I have used continuously probably since I devised the simple 3 rules in 2003 when I was working overseas. I continue to find that project managers or teams or sponsors or all of the above tend to get in a little bit of a tiz as to where they're going to go next on their project. So it's a little bit of fun, but the 3 rules have always worked for me, so let's get on and have a go. So my number 1 rule is don't panic. And whilst that seems really, really easy to say, it is actually a very grounding 2 words, I find. Don't panic. Why do people panic? Well, they tend to panic when things start to go awry and they're not organised anymore. They don't understand what the right project technique is or how to apply it. Or there may be panic around the project. So forces externally to your project where people are starting to panic. When, in my experience, the don't panic rule is pretty circular, with PMs applying a technique or not applying a technique to each new issue. Once it's been applied, stop panicking, move on, go on to the next thing. If you start to panic again, revert to this rule. This rule is probably the most important. An example of being put under enormous pressure, which most of us project managers have been subjected to, I'm sure, is where a project manager is being pressured to deliver more than was agreed originally in the scope. The project can ultimately be pushed over schedule and over budget. In the old days in software development, clients used to say, just put more people on it, just throw more people at it, and that'll help. We all know now that that doesn't necessarily help. So don't panic. Number 1 rule of mine of project management, don't panic. My second rule, which is really important as well, I think, is to say no when no is required. It's not just a matter of saying no to be difficult, it's saying no with purpose. Why are you saying no? It's because you can't achieve the scope at the moment. You need to do something. You need to apply some project management tool or technique to reorder that scope or to re-agree a change request. So many project managers, in my experience, don't say no. They say yes to everything because they think they need to, and then they wonder why their project gets into trouble. So saying no with purpose, for a purpose. Really, really important, not just to be difficult. And my third rule, which is also really important, and I found that this rule was really required when I had a very large software development team of people when I was working on a very large bank, bleeding edge technology at the time in Thailand, where I had a lot of people who valued their quality of life over a lot of the what we normally see in the Western world, IT imperatives. So my third rule always started out with be happy. So don't panic, say no when no is required. And finally, be happy. Because you are the leader of this project, of this team, and you want to bring those people with you in a way that is not going to create more unrest and more stress for everyone. So be happy. What's that going to take to ensure that your team are happy, your sponsors are happy, your stakeholders are happy? What's that going to look like? How do you apply your project management technique, and which technique is it? Look, this is not to say that all of this is easy, and you may end up back at rule 1 at this point, which is why I said rule 1 was circular. You'll get to this point, you can't be happy, you're not quite sure what the technique is, and you go back to panicking. Remember, don't panic. Say no when no is required. You can learn how to say no in a way that is not confrontational. You can say, we're unable to do these things in that time frame for these reasons. I always say to project managers, make sure that you've got the evidence. What is the evidence of why you can or you can't do something? What is the evidence that demonstrates why you need additional resources, why things are going to cost more money? Don't just go to your sponsor or your stakeholders and say, it can't work, it's just not going to happen. Go with evidence. If you've been doing your status reports all the way along, you'll have that evidence. At the end of the day, you always have to consider and weigh up, is this the right place for you to be? Just because you're the project manager doesn't mean that you have to do absolutely everything that is asked of you if it's unreasonable. If it doesn't fit within the scope, work out a scope change. Go back to the table, get those agreements, and remember, number 1, don't panic. For more information about how I can help you or your organisation achieve better outcomes in project management, contact me at suzannemoore@pmclinic.com.au. I can help you with project manager coaching, mentoring, real tools that are simple and easy for all of business to use. I've done many recoveries of projects, so I'm very, very able to work across a business with senior stakeholders and work on your project outcomes, assess where you are, and then put in an action plan to move forward. Don't forget to subscribe, come back regularly, like this video if you are happy to, and we'll see you next time.